Welcome to Adam's Athenaeum. Let's take a look together through the news and records of our times as we try to shed light upon the unvarnished truth. Thanks for coming back to listen to this episode where I felt that we needed to talk about unarmed shootings and when they can be justified. Now, I'm sure many of us have heard of Patrick Lyoya's death from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Just this last week in the news, headlines everywhere saying, "Unarmed black man killed by police," yet again. Alright, well, let's look into the details. As on my channel, we always look for the truth and try to spread the truth here. So I studied in detail, from every camera angle that I could find, the video of Patrick Lyoya's struggle with police and his ensuing death. Now let's talk about his actions a little bit during this encounter with the police officer. Not doing exactly what you're asked is not cooperating. Saying okay is not complying if you're not actually doing the action. Continuing to walk around and move your body around and twist instead of putting your hands behind your back, that's not being compliant either. As a semi-aggressive, non-compliant person is still resisting arrest, a less lethal tool is used. A taser, however, has limitations. Those limitations are you need about 12 inches of prong spread between the two little, prongs that shoot out of the end of the taser. You need about 12 inches of spread to get good contact. So if your suspect is wearing jeans, jacket, heavy hoodie, more than likely you're not going to get a good stick. So your taser will be rendered ineffective. Some tasers only carry one shot. Some are reloadable, some have 2 shots, some can also be used as a stun gun. Now, being hit with your own taser or stun gun can make you incapacitated, can make your muscles lock up and make you unable to move or defend yourself. Also, being hit with your own taser or stun gun can make you incapacitated and defenseless to attack or theft of your taser or firearm. A shooting is justified to prevent further attack from a subject who is aggressive, has attempted to flee, is non-compliant, has grabbed your taser and continues to wrestle with you. Most reasonable people, when actually put into this position, would escalate violence to defend their life as the law can permit, depending where you live. Now let's go back a little ways in history. Jacob Blake. He was reaching for a knife in his car door when he was shot in the back by police and left paralyzed. Had he grabbed the knife, he could have quickly turned around and attacked multiple officers, potentially killing them. He also could have gotten back in his vehicle to flee the scene and put countless other people's lives at risk. So yes, a shooting was justified, even if he was currently unarmed and he was shot in the back. It was to prevent a further loss of life. When Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked, one of the people who attacked Kyle was unarmed, but attempted to take Kyle's weapon from him as DNA and video evidence, as well as a jury's decision would later prove. Do you remember years ago when Flocka or bath salts was a popular drug? And it made people out of their minds. That in a few instances, Florida one being one that I remember, there were several other states, a crazed person on drugs would be naked on a US highway, getting people to pull over and would proceed to literally chew and eat that person's face off. I'm not kidding. In this instance, and in many states, you would be justified using lethal force against the deranged person in defense of the victim's life. Yes, in most states you would be authorized to shoot and kill that unarmed aggressor. So apparently some people need to hear how to treat police and how to act during a traffic stop or really any interaction with police. So let's talk a little about it. But just remember that I'm not a lawyer or anything too savvy, and I'm not giving legal advice, just my opinion. Now, in any police interaction I've been involved in, and I've had a good and bad experiences with police, I always approach them in the same fashion. I stop moving, and I listen to what's being asked of me, and I shut up. If I'm asked how fast I was going, I don't answer questions. If I'm being investigated for a traffic violation, I will cooperate to the best of my abilities until I have a lawyer present. If it's a mistaken identity case, I will literally stand there with an officer for however long is needed and be calm, patient, quiet, and understanding of his job until I'm free to go. I've been stopped by police while armed, and I'm still here to talk about it. And no, it's not because of my skin color. When I was stopped, I was fishing with an open carry handgun. When I was greeted by the officer, I immediately opened my palms, thus dropping my fishing pole, and I slowly raised my hands up in the air and told the officer, "Good afternoon, officer. Not to alarm you, but I do have a firearm on my right hip, registered in my name, that I can legally possess and carry. My wallet is in my back right pocket if you need anything from me." All the whilst, I kept my hands in the air. He then talked to me for a moment, seemingly to kind of get a feel for if I was a criminal or an alleged good citizen. He then told me go ahead and put my hands down, but he also asked for my ID. So before dropping my tired arms, I said, "Well, officer, my wallet is in my back pocket right behind my firearm. Are you okay if I slowly move my right hand to get my wallet?" And he was fine with that, and the rest is history. He checked my identity, licenses, and tags, and let me be. Now, if you're a criminal, you're probably going to run. If you're breaking your bond or parole, you're probably going to run or fight. If you were raised being told that police are out to get you and that they're just evil, racist pigs, you may not respond appropriately in any given situation. So the culture needs to change. We need our children, we need to tell our children that most police are just like you and me. They are just humans who live flawed lives to the best of their abilities. They have procedures and policies that they must follow that we, the public, may not fully understand. We need to remember that we didn't volunteer, as they have, to be first responders to murders, kidnappings, child abuse, rapes. We judge them without even being able to imagine what a day in their shoes would be like. We need our children to treat other people better than how they themselves want to be treated. Treat everybody from the poor to the rich with equal love and respect. It wouldn't be a normal episode if I wasn't here to remind you that the BLM lunatics who are rioting over criminals' death, they are crying over someone who made their own choices and paid the consequences for those actions. I get it. A life was lost, and that's unfortunate. But it was a justified death from what I've seen. Once again, BLM is out rioting and destroying other people's property because an unarmed black man who was resisting arrest and being non-compliant, as well as trying to take an officer's taser, was justifiably shot and killed. The officer spent many minutes trying to simply wrestle him, but Patrick wasn't cool with that. The officer tried to tase him, but just as tasers often can be, it was ineffective in subduing the subject. So Patrick continued to resist arrest, and he grabbed for the taser, and again, after everything the officer tried to do to avoid shooting the victim, he was left with no choice but by the victim himself, but to defend his tools and his life by ending Patrick's life. So may he rest in peace and his soul be judged fairly and accordingly. That's all we can ever ask for. To conclude, sometimes, and in certain states, depending on the situation, shooting an unarmed individual or shooting someone in the back, irregardless of the race, can be legally and morally justified. Now, if that upsets you, I would like to understand why. I may not agree with why you're upset, but I would like to try and understand the viewpoint of the other side. Anyhow, that's where we'll end today's discussion on when unarmed shootings can be justified. I post new content every Thursday, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. If you like the work I'm doing and think this message should be spread, then please, by all means, share this video with all of your friends and family. I'll see you back here next week.